What's up, everybody? It's Witch Doctor Aspen here. It is September 9th, 2022, which means that it is freaking that time again. It's Mercury Retrograde. Yep, it's that time again. It's that time again where we're going to have to deal with all the bullshit from Mercury Retrograde, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure that you've seen Instagram posts that talk about what the fuck Mercury Retrograde is and why it's so like, because I feel like a lot of people just flip the fuck out over Mercury Retrograde. One, because it happens so frequently. Two, like frequently through the year, there's 3 times a year that this happens. 2, it fucks with most of like our daily life because it fucks with technology. So it's gonna fuck with most of everything that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And then also like, it's just super notorious. There's a whole, Mercury loves irony, as my partner pointed out. Mercury loves irony. So it'll put you in like stupid, ironic situations where like things are just not going to work out for you. And it is really a time to clean out the skeletons in your closet. It's time to rest and reflect and review and just like cleanse and figure out what's going on. So, and for those of you that don't know, a Mercury retrograde or any planet's retrograde is when it changes positions in the sky, okay? But it looks like it's going backwards. It looks like it's going backwards. So instead of orbiting this way, it looks like it's going backwards for a little bit. That's trippy. That's trippy in and even of itself. I can't. I can't with that. Like, what the fuck? Planets moving backwards? Giant magnets in space moving backwards. Think about that. Okay, so I decided that I was going to do something a little bit different during this Mercury retrograde. Like, a lot of people and a lot of spiritual people kind of just hunker down. Oh, Mercury retrograde. And even at one point I wrote a Mercury retrograde survival guide. That was cute. It was cute. I wrote that and I put it out there and I still have it somewhere in my files, but it was an interesting little piece that I created, and it was so focused on like, don't do this and do that. It wasn't really like focusing on the rest, reflect, relax energy of what a retrograde is really about. So I decided to do 2 things, to combine 2 things that I randomly had that were kind of like gifted to me, I guess, from the universe, and combine them and really take a journey during this Mercury retrograde for my fucking self. Like, I'm sorry to have a potty mouth. Honestly, I'm not sorry that I have a potty mouth, so please just deal with it. But I wanted to really make this about me and really make this about growth and change and renewal and being refreshed. So I decided to combine these 2 journals that I had. One called the Self-Care Planner. I got it at this place called Five Below. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or if they have it in your state, but they have them in Arizona and it's really cool. Everything's like $5. This journal was $5 and I was like, cool, I'll grab it. Let's see what it's got. Damn, did I find a $5 gem or did I find a $5 gem? For real though. So it has all these different months in it so that you can step into it at any time. And it has like tips and, you know, like intentions for the month and for the week every single time that you come into the journal. So I was like, okay, I'm going to combine this self-care planner with my Mercury retrograde journal that came from my Goddess Provisions box. This one came during the last Mercury retrograde and I was like, cool, thank you. And I didn't do anything with it. I was busy. It's true. So finally this time I was like, you know what? Here we go. So I dove into the journal. Fascinating in here. Really, really awesome stuff. Maja Todorovic, I hope I said that right. She knows what's up. She definitely knows what's up. She definitely knows what's up. This is such a great little journal, and it actually goes through 3 cycles of Mercury retrograde in the journal. So it's actually good for a whole year. And I just decided to do it going into the fall I'm just off kilter, I guess. I'm like, this is the Mercury retrograde. I'm going to do this. So this is actually the first video in a series over the next 21 days. So there's going to be at least 21 videos in this series where I'm going through this journal, prioritizing my self-care to rest, relax, refresh, and like gain deeper perspective about myself. And that's literally what I put in my intentions for my self-care planner. So I said that I wanted to love myself deeper and stronger over the next 21 days, to gain more perspective, to relieve anxiety around day-to-day stuff, and to prioritize healing. So the notes that I took are basically like telling myself that it's time to own the fact that I can control what self-care that I'm doing for myself, and how that control of what I do to take care of myself is giving me back that sense of control that was taken from me when I was younger, or that I never had because of my situation when I was younger. So, and then also to just do things and have routines for myself because I want them, and to be myself and to do things my way because that's my way of doing things. Very important lesson that I'm teaching myself right now about individuality. There is always you in everyone else that you see. Everyone you interact with is a mirror, blah, blah, blah. But understanding yourself and not getting lost in everybody else's energy, especially when you're on that spiritual path or you're going on a spiritual path, it's really important to understand, like, no, this is me and this is the energy that I'm carrying and this is what I'm working with. So I'm giving myself a lot of sense of control, inner power, and I'm going to grow through it. So the week's tips so the self-care journal is this month for the 21 days. It's like instilling calm. I'm like, perfect. Mercury retrograde is chaotic, so at that time to be like instilling calm and learning how to be calm through the storm. Are you kidding me? And it's literally raining outside too right now as I'm doing this video. Of course it is. To be calm through the storm. I love it. So instilling calm, it's like talking about slow rhythmic breathing, being on top of it. But what it really shared was awakening your center of power. And I'm actually doing it right now. So this is your solar plexus chakra right here. This is that chakra. It's color yellow. It's all about power and your sense of control in your life. Like, not control, but what you can control in your life. This power center is easy to get blocked, especially when you're dealing with bullshit, to swallow your pride, blah, 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 blah. Pushing on that area with your thumb and just feeling a little bit of resistance, you'll feel it, because I felt it right away. I was like, why have I not been doing this? And I know so much, but that's why I love learning, because you're just going to learn more shit. Oh, laughing feels good. And you can move down a little bit if you need to, and just breathe with it as much as you need to. Breathe with it. You might feel a little bit of a heartbeat in that area, or be able to feel your heartbeat in that area. That's good. Fresh energy is now moving to that area. So the next thing, as we release that, the next thing it was talking about was doing a morning meditation. So next video, there's going to be pieces of me doing my morning meditation, which is a Mercury retrograde meditation that came from this journal. And I kind of want to talk about this journal a little bit. This one is like prioritizing self-care. So obviously I wrote down what I need to do tomorrow, and then to take care of myself, and then what I want to do to take care of myself. Duh. Makes sense to me. So now let's get into like Mercury retrograde a little bit. The self-care shit's cute, but let's be real here. We're here for Mercury retrograde advice. We're really here for Mercury retrograde advice. Okay. So, honestly, this journal is so fucking cool. It's really cool. I can't get over it. Okay. So, Mercury is the messenger of the gods. So, that's awesome. It's ruled by Gemini and Virgo, which, dang, it is super raining outside. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but it is pouring rain outside. So it's ruled by Gemini and Virgo, which is really fun because it's in Virgo. Our Mercury retrograde is in Libra and in Virgo this time around in both houses. So it's going to be home for a little bit in one of its houses. So it's ruled by Gemini and Virgo. So let's get into what a Mercury retrograde is, direct from the book. Each planet has a normal trajectory as she orbits around the sun. In astrology, forward motion is related to things and events oriented towards the future and progress. But 3 or 4 times a year, we experience something that's in astrology called Mercury retrograde. The planet's Mercury appears to be going backwards between 21 and 24 days, but usually for 3 weeks, while observing from Earth. In reality, no planet or celestial body moves backwards in its orbit around the sun. The retrograde cycle is an optical illusion that results from our point of view from Earth. Mercury is the fastest orbiting planet that cannot be more than 28 degrees away from the sun. When she reaches the farthest distance from the sun, it appears like she changes direction. Due to her speed and size, Mercury retrogrades more frequently than any other planet. Every planet before she turns retrograde slows down, stops, and then goes into retrograde motion. In the same fashion, before she turns direct, she stops and then goes into forward motion. So we actually have 2 different types of movement in one phase. Direct motion, stationary phase, the planet seems to stop, retrograde motion. The time span before Mercury turns retrograde we call the pre-retrograde shadow period, when Mercury first passes over the degree that she later returns to in retrograde motion. Shadow periods usually last for 2 weeks. We consider the post-retrograde shadow period is completed when Mercury passes again over the degree at which she first turned retrograde. During her retrograde motion, Mercury moves approximately 1 degree per day. As Mercury goes retrograde, we add the small letter R to her standard sign, so we know Mercury has started her retrograde cycle. In direct motion, we mark Mercury as with her usual sign. Why are they writing this like it's a fucking period? I'm interested. This is great, but I'm like, why are you writing this like it's a damn period? Okay. The symbolism of I'm doubting this activity now. What did I sign up for? What quest am I going on? What am I doing? I don't even know. Okay. The symbolism of the retrograde planet in astrology usually indicates some need for repetition, postponing, and seeing things from a different perspective. The things are most unstable and unpredictable when Mercury stations, whether it's turning retrograde or going direct. This is the shift in energy, and we need time to become accustomed to it. As the planet of communication goes backwards, we might feel like our whole life is turned upside down. We might get confused as we are confronted with unusual events. Mercury governs our lower mind and how we perceive and process information that we receive and exchange with our environment. Mercury rules, among other things, speaking, decision-making, thinking, buying, selling, traffic, electronics, negotiations, contracts, written documents, teaching, listening, writing, travel, mail, shipping, and transport. Woo! That's damn near everything. That's everything we deal with. That's everything we deal with on a day-to-day basis. All of these areas are affected with Mercury retrograde, and we can experience delays, cancellations, postponing, and mistakes in all these matters. We are challenged. We might react. We are challenged. We might react irrationally and recklessly, as we usually don't have sufficient information that we need to make the right decision. For that reason, it is advisable to not sign any contract or important business or project documents. When joined with other planets, Mercury retrograde can produce problems on a greater scale like power blackouts, accidents, failed exams, health issues, broken relationships, and professional hardships. We may also doubt our choices and opinions, but Mercury retrograde is good to revisit old ideas or projects and work on their completion. This period is good for reorganizing and bringing order to parts of our life where we may feel chaotic. We have the opportunity to look at the world from a different perspective and can come to very important discoveries, especially who you truly are versus who you project yourself to be in your daily life. Are the two in sync or not? Okay, so I hope you guys got ready for Mercury retrograde. If not, that's okay. This little section will help you. This beautiful wisdom that astrology offers us is our ability to foresee and prepare for certain astrological transits. Of course, it's not always possible to prepare for every what-if scenario, but specific precautionary measures can help us avoid certain unpleasant surprises. The first step is to gain clarity on when the Mercury shadow phase begins. This period usually begins 2 weeks before Mercury goes retrograde. For exact dates, refer to the tables. Okay. There's a little table in here of like all the dates. So we've been in the shadow phase because boom, we're in it now and we're starting the Mercury retrograde period. So as we enter this phase, we might experience more tiredness than usual, feeling sleepy with foggy brains and lack of energy. We are more forgetful, easily losing things, and overlooking important details. We may encounter sudden changes in our plans, cancellations, scrambled communication, our electronics having problems. This is quite an emotional time when there is a lot of confusion, misunderstanding, and false information that can cause stress, mistakes, anger, and frustration. We might think that we can't succeed at anything and that we can't communicate our feelings and thoughts effectively. In these moments, it is important to remember that we have free will. It is up to us to align with the energy and use it to our own advantage. So how do we handle it? And then they go into talking about practice Mercury retrograde and self-care. And I was like, I have my self-care planner. So that's that. Okay. The very first day, we're going to get into this like activities and stuff because there's cool little activities in here. Mercury retrograde survival guide, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get into all of that in my next video, but I am gonna give you a little sneak peek of what the first journal prompt is that I'm gonna be also covering tomorrow in my video. Retreat in silence and solitude. As Mercury starts to retrograde, we are motivated to step back and acknowledge which parts of our lives we need to revisit. Spend time meditating and reconnecting with your intuition. What is she telling you? So meditation is now going into my self-care planner for tomorrow. And it's great because my partner's out of town. So, he's out of town. So everything is going to be super quiet because it's just me in the house with the animals. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know this was just kind of a little introductory video, but I just wanted to like give you a rundown of what it is that I'm doing and why I'm freaking doing it. And I hope you stick around for the next 21 days. Mwah. Thanks for showing up. Love you so much.